Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind HR. Pay transparency is a new term that really has not hit the streets like I wish it would. Pay transparency is something that's evolving. It's still kind of in its infancy stages, as sad as it is to say that. And I just want to make sure that the HR folks know all about it. It's, in my opinion, a great thing. So if you want to know what is paid transparency and what can it do for me, Tamika, then you definitely want to keep on watching. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the definition of pay transparency because I want to make sure we both on the same page. I did a posting about it on LinkedIn and someone responded that they don't like the idea of pay transparency. And I was so confused. I was trying not to say anything because I didn't want him to think like I'm upset that he disagreed with my post. But it was so good to see someone else comment and say, well, why not? And his whole thing was, honestly, he didn't know what pay transparency was. He thought that it was just posting the salary on job postings. And I'm like, it's a lot more to it than that. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't go into too much of an explanation on that post when I saw that his tag said retired. I'm like, it don't make a difference to you at all. Anyhow, and all the rest of us are loving it. So, I don't know. I definitely want to start with the definition of pay transparency. The definition is the practice of openly and proactively sharing information on organizational compensation practices. This is not just how much you're going to get paid being posted on a job posting. It includes pay rates for specific positions, pay increases, bonus, commission structures, benefits, retirement plans, or any other specifics about pay. Love it. Now, we can't get too excited. We just can't get too excited because as much as I like to say is this is a federally regulated law for the entire United States, it literally is not. So there's a few states that have adopted this law, and actually it's not even all states because some of them are cities within a state. I hope that it spreads like wildfire, but I definitely want to share with you guys what those states are. And the states are California, which we're not surprised there, right? So California, Cincinnati, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Colorado, Connecticut, Maryland, Nevada, New York City, Rhode Island, and Washington State. You know, those are some pretty big states. There's a lot of people being affected by it. It is a bit of a headache for HR because, you know, for those of us who have positions posted in those places or whatever, it's almost like you got to go back and clean those ones up. But I definitely can dive into more of that because if the company has been proactive and really preparing for things like this, then it wouldn't be much of a cleanup. And so if you want to know all about how you can identify a company that really means well by pay transparency, really adopts it wholeheartedly into their culture and things like that, then you definitely want to check out my blog. So I did a blog that details all about pay transparency, gives you links that you can look at, give you examples of what you can look at. And so I'll put the link for that blog below. But pay transparency is something that really is going to protect a lot of us. So many times there's been a gap in the pay with males and females versus different races as well. And in my opinion, I think it could definitely change even more as we become more and more diversified, more people move to the US and things like that. So I'm super excited to see that this is going to help us weaken or lessen that gap between what a woman is being paid and a man. It's just way too often I see that they literally have the exact same job title. And a woman has sometimes more education or more experience. But I've also seen where they have equitable and the male is just being paid way more. Can't understand it, right? Always really throws me off. But so one thing that I am thrilled about is when a company has a pay transparency statement or a pay transparency policy. I've noticed that companies are doing that now. In the job description, they're referencing the salary, they're referencing, your traditional EEOC laws and things like that, but they're also linking to their company's pay statement or pay policy. And to me, that makes me feel like you took this a step further, versus just saying, okay, we want to check a box for what the federal government wants or whatever, or what the state wants now. People are really saying, how can we embed this into our culture? How can we embed this into our hiring practices? How can we let people know that we're paying attention to this as part of our organizational makeup and not just a job posting or satisfying a law? Another thing is just they'll have these pay philosophies. And so this is telling me that companies are now having more of an intangible tangible connection. They're not worried about it being something that you can just see, touch, hear, or whatever. It's more like, you know what, it's ingrained in us, and we want to continue to make sure that we all see this, not just in job postings or whatever, but we want to see it kind of reflected in our mission, vision, values for the company. And I think that's so admirable. I hope that spreads again like wildfire. There are not very many jobs that I've seen with it, but if you want to see an example of it, definitely check out my blog. For those of you who are new, I hope that you found this video helpful and that you decide to subscribe. If y'all found any value in this video at all, like any at all, if you like, you know what, you kind of hitting on something, please hit the like button for me. I just cannot wait to see you guys in the next video.